Okay, we're going to have a public hearing for the Tangipahoa Parish Council, but before we start, I want to make a little statement because I really hate to go home and look on the internet and somebody say Mr. Bruno didn't have his mask on. I had an accident Thursday with some chlorine and I got burned, and I also got some in my lungs, so I'm having a little trouble breathing. So I can't put the mask on. So if y'all would just bear with me, my breath's a little short. But hopefully everything's going to be fine, but that's the reason I don't have my mask on. So we're going to move on to the public hearing for the Tangipahoa Parish Council for July 13, 2020. We have 5 items under the public hearing. First is TP ordinance number 20-21, an ordinance placing a 4-way stop sign at the intersection of Stafford Road, New Genesee Road, and Bravada Lane in District Number 4 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage, Article in General, Section 20. Anyone here to speak on that? If not, that will be on the regular agenda to be approved once the meeting starts. Second one, TP ordinance number 20-22, an ordinance placing 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on April Lane in District 2 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage, Article 1 in General, Section 20. Anyone to speak on that? Okay, that also will be brought up for adoption under the regular agenda. Third item is TP ordinance number 20-23, an ordinance to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to execute any and all documents in regard to the donation of property listed herein from the Louisiana Land Trust Restore Louisiana Buyback Program. Anyone on that? Okay. Next one is TP ordinance number 20-24, an ordinance to grant a variance to the Tangipahoa Parish subdivision regulations, setback requirements for lots 34 and 35 of Milan Village subdivision in District Number 8, Tangipahoa Parish, State of Louisiana. Anyone here on that? Okay. And the final one is TP ordinance number 20-25, an ordinance placing a moratorium on the consideration and or preliminary approval through the Planning Commission for any new residential subdivision with over 8 lots and special use residential commercial developments for a period of 60 days within Tangipahoa Parish, south of Interstate 12. I have some people that have signed up. If I call your name, would you please come up and speak? I'm going to start with the first ones first. Ms. Christine Alexis Dominguez. And Ms. Dominguez, if you just state your full name and your address for the record, please, ma'am.
Sure. Christine Alexis Dominguez, 28464 Rose Oak Street, Ponchatoula, Louisiana, 70454. And I'm here today to ask you to please support the moratorium for the 60-day building south of I-12. I've been a lifelong resident of BDCO, and I'm employed as a nurse practitioner in the Hammond area. And being a lifelong resident, I've witnessed the growth that's happened in BDCO and on that side of Ponchatoula, and we've had some negative effects from the explosive amount of growth that's happened in such a short amount of time. Some of the things that personally I've been affected by is the traffic on Highway 22. It's become excessive, almost dangerous at times. Some of the other trouble is just with general infrastructure. Obviously, we have the flooding issues. I've witnessed friends and family whose homes have flooded that don't usually flood because of the building, and the property for the subdivisions has been raised as high as 4 feet in areas. And so the excess runoff from the water is going to homes that generally didn't flood. Some other issues is with the police department and the fire department. They don't have the public service to patrol out in that area as much, having trouble getting to all the medical calls with the fire department. The schools are obviously overcrowded. We need a new plan on how to address the influx of children moving into the area. And so I'm definitely not against growth. I just think we need to have a better plan for controlled growth so that we can keep our citizens safe and that people can enjoy the community the way that we have previously. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Miss Angela Pritchard. Miss Pritchard, if you would do the same thing, please. State your name and address.
My name is Angela Pritchard. I live at 26180 Crown Drive. I have lived in Crown Drive in Ward 8, Council District 2 since 1979. I own property 0.7 miles off Fire Tower Road. I also have property 1.8 miles off of Fire Tower Road. It's near the dead end around the bus turn. The first piece of property has never sustained abode flooding. The land in the front does not drain anymore due to the fact that there is so much water accumulation and we don't drain. The second piece of property in the back began flooding in April of 1983. We received 6 feet of water throughout the entire property. This property has flooded again in March 2016, August 2016, and May 2020. After March of 2016, all living quarters and sheds were raised to the highest flooding level. The road still floods. On all occasions, there were 18 inches to 4 feet of water. It usually takes 2 to 3 days to go down. This is the reason I'm requesting each of you to support the moratorium. I know that the moratorium will not stop the developments. My request is that we take 60 days to gather together some experts in drainage help, long-term residents like myself for long-term information, representatives like yourself, survey engineers, and old and new flat and aerial maps. My hope is that we might get a larger picture from all sides of the southern part of the parish, making sure we are utilizing the ability to help the gravity drainage by identifying any canals, creeks, or ditches that may have been overlooked just by the passage of time. I mentioned to Mr. Ingraffia that I see more parish trucks and workers than I have ever seen. That makes me believe that we're headed in a positive direction. And I am only offering this suggestion to keep things moving forward and continue to keep solving some problems. The same ones I've lived with for 37 years. I'm not sure how you raise a road 2.5 feet, but it's still flooding. I am aware that any flooding in a given area is predicated on the status of the Tangipahoa River, the direction of the dominant winds aloft, the levels of Lake Pontchartrain, and how much moisture is already in the ground where the heavy rain is falling. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe that in 2016, the council looked into digging more ditches in Crown Village. I really do not remember what the results were. I'm sorry. Please be sure to know that I am not saying any of this is by oversight. Time charges forward and our elected officials change. And some of us, like myself, get very passive. Again, I'm asking for you to support the 60-day moratorium, not in the belief that we need to stop all the development, but that we just take a very small step backward and maybe some expert help, like some of you who have been around for some time, and like me who have lived there for some time, and maybe we can solve some of the old problems before we fall into the new ones. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
Thank you, Ms. Angela.
Very, very well said, Ms. Pritchard. Thank you very much.
I truly tried, and I have to thank you, Mr. Ingraffia. He spent lots of time with me on the telephone, and I'm sure it stopped a lot of calls that he had to go back and answer.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Joe Meir.
Good evening. My name is Joe Meir. I am representing the Tangipahoa Economic Development Board this evening. My address is 906 CM Fagan Drive in Hammond. And I've got a resolution of opposition from the Tangipahoa Parish Economic Development. It says, whereas the Tangipahoa Economic Development Foundation's purpose is to promote business interests of the parish of Tangipahoa in Louisiana, whereas the Tangipahoa Economic Development Foundation's mission is to identify opportunities and lead efforts to attract new jobs and investment, enhance the climate for retention and expansion of existing businesses, address education and workforce development needs. Can't do that.
That's better, huh?
And provide advocacy for economic development, public policy on behalf of Tangipahoa Parish citizens and businesses. Whereas the moratorium will threaten future economic growth and development of the parish of Tangipahoa, as well as create the perception that the parish of Tangipahoa is not receptive to new business opportunities. And whereas the moratorium that includes recreational campgrounds, RV parks, it will directly and negatively impact the tourism revenue of parish of Tangipahoa. Whereas the moratorium will restrict the availability of affordable housing and community group homes for citizens of Tangipahoa Parish, as well as those individuals who desire to move to this parish. Whereas a moratorium will decrease sales tax and property tax revenue on which the parish of Tangipahoa directly relies on for operation. Whereas the Tangipahoa Parish Council President government has already established regulations that ensure that developments are well planned, safe, and properly maintained, and continue to analyze and update those regulations as this parish continues to grow. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Tangipahoa Economic Development Foundation opposes the passage of Tangipahoa Parish Ordinance 2025. I'm going to change hats just a minute here.
I was wondering if we had two Joe Mears in here.
No, I didn't know whether I had to fill out two or what, but I'm now speaking on behalf of the North Shore Area Board of Realtors. And first, I want to be very clear. I nor anyone that I'm representing tonight wants to see homes flood in Tangipahoa Parish, or for that matter, anything that would negatively impact our parish. We are aware that the main focus is southeast Tangipahoa Parish, but let's not forget the rest of the parish. Whether you've been in Tangipahoa Parish for 80 years or 30 days, the reason every one of us live here is the same reason that many are now considering Tangipahoa Parish for their new home or a new location for their business. Tangipahoa Parish is a great place to live, raise our families. We're having issues of growing pains, and many people are working extremely hard to address those issues on an ongoing basis, and we appreciate your hard work. We're not asking the parish not to work on these issues. We are requesting that the parish continue to work on addressing the areas that are experiencing the flooding. However, we would respectfully request that our parish government not send the message that Tangipahoa Parish is closed for business by using moratoriums with no clear plan. The way this moratorium is being used is sending the wrong message for every district, not just the Southeast District, not just the areas that are having flooding issues or everything south of I-12. At a time when the housing industry is one of the only industries that is supporting our economy, there needs to be a clear message that Tangipahoa Parish is open for business, and at the same time, working on addressing the growing pains of our parish. There have already been many changes made for new developments in recent years, and the Development Regulations Committee continues to work on these issues. This moratorium does not have a clear plan of what it will achieve in 60 days, which leaves the door open to extend it till when. If you all would allow, I'd like to give you just a brief overview of the current housing stock of the Tangipahoa Parish. According to the Gulf South Real Estate database, this is a database that real estate agents use to list homes for sale. As of today, there's only 288 active residential properties for sale in the entire parish. We typically have 700 to 800 properties available for sale in our parish. Out of those 288 properties, only 58 of them are identified as new construction. The typical home price is about $150,000, and there's only 47 homes in that price range. A non-scientific poll was completed asking agents how many people they had in their pipeline looking for homes in Tangipahoa Parish. Only 21 agents responded, and identified about 180 people looking for housing in Tangipahoa Parish, but we're struggling to locate a house. According to a study that was done by Southeastern University, keep in mind, this was in 2018. The housing industry had a direct impact of approximately 2,300 jobs in our parish. This is as large as some of the biggest businesses in our parish. In 2018, an annual payroll of the housing industry was $87 million. Those are real dollars and real jobs that many of your family members and friends are part of every day. Those jobs contributed to almost $8 million in sales tax in 2018, $3.6 million to our local schools. And since that time, I think all of us could agree those numbers have increased on the amount of housing that's been going on. In Tangipahoa Parish, prices range in a range from $95,000 to over $900,000. According to housing data sources in December of 2019, a typical home price was $149,300. The cost of owning a home should not exceed 30% of the income of a person buying a home. Therefore, the income to purchase, say, a $150,000 home would be $45,000 annually. As of 2018, the median household income was, again, $46,300. Many residents in the parish are at the top of their price range of home ownership for a typical home. Adding costs to the price of construction is sensitive right now and is only about a $1,300 difference from the cost versus their income. As demand comes strong and cannot be adequately met, while the proposed moratorium remains in effect, then one would expect the circumstances to cause prices to increase because of the supply and demand issues. There's no single rule that can apply to the entire parish that can fix every complex issue that is impacting a corner of our parish. Adding additional expense to the cost of a building, even in areas that are not flood prone, which is some of the proposed some of the proposed changes that we're hearing, such as fill and pier and beam construction, only adds to the bottom line of the cost of a home. Remember, every $1,000 that is added to the price of a home results in many people falling out of the bracket to attain ownership. We are asking that you allow the Development Regulations Committee to continue working on this. While the initial 60-day period of the proposed moratorium may be defensible, the lack of any restrictions on how many times and how long the parish council can extend it without adopting another ordinance creates the potential for exposing the parish to property owner claims. The longer the moratorium is extended, the more likely it is exposed to parish to property owner claims, and the proposed moratorium has violated the fundamental due process of rights affected by property owners. We thank you for your hard work. For the reasons discussed above, we urge the parish council to consider voting no or amending the proposed moratorium to explicitly limit how many times it can be extended without adopting a new ordinance and for how long. We also urge the parish council to amend the proposed moratorium to include standards for the parish council to apply in determining whether an extension for a particular amount of time is appropriate. This messaging of the moratorium will impact every district in every part of the parish. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we have anybody else? Okay. We don't have anybody else. This item will be under the regular meeting, and it'll be up for a vote of the council, up or down. Okay, at this point, we'll adjourn the public hearing. We'll go into the regular meeting. Regular meeting of the Tangipahoa Parish Council for July 13th, 2020 will come to order. I'm going to have Mr. Lewis Joseph with the invocation and Mr. Trent Forrest with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody would please stand.
Good evening to all of you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings we received. We thank you for our health. We thank you for our strength. Thank you for our peace of mind, our families, and our friends. Tonight, Lord, we ask that you give the leadership all the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to do those things that are pleasing in your eyesight. Lord, that we ask that you bless the United States of America, that you bless Louisiana in particular, as well as Tangipahoa Parish, as we all fight collectively to battle the unforeseen enemy, COVID-19. We ask that those that have contracted the virus a speedy recovery, and those that have gone on to glory, may they rest in peace. Lord, we ask that you protect all of our citizens from the virus. And as we stand today, we ask that you continue to protect our first responders, all those men and women help workers who put themselves in harm's way so that we may enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy today. It's my understanding that thousands of military personnel in Okinawa have contracted the virus, including their family members. Bless them, Lord, and give them a speedy recovery. And as we leave this place, whenever your grace, we ask that you give us guidance on our way back to our various families and our various abodes. These blessings, all blessed, we ask in your daughter's Son, Jesus Christ's name. And all the people responded by saying,
Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. We'll ask all veterans and active military to render the proper salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for
Not a
your
problem.
pledge and prayer.
Not a problem.
Have roll call, please.
Present.
Present.
Here.
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 Okay, if anyone has a cell phone or a pager, if you please turn it off or mute it at this point. Adoption of minutes of regular meeting of June the 22nd, 2020.
Also move.
Motion by Mr. Wells.
Second here.
Second by Mr. Vial. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Public input, anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing. So if you spoke at the public hearing, that would be your opportunity to speak. Anyone to speak after that? Okay. We're gonna, Mr. Miller's allowed. We've had some of the councilmen that's had complaints about some garbage pickup problems, and Amwaste has one of their representatives here. So I'm going to ask Dustin, would you come up, please? State your name and for the record and your position with Amwaste, if you don't mind.
Good evening. Dustin Fortenberry, District Manager for Amwaste, Louisiana, and we're at 732 East Railroad in Independence. I'd be happy to take specific questions, but before, if I could just give you kind of a brief State of the Union on where we are at Amwaste. Quick history, I'm new with Amwaste, just came back a few months ago, actually February, but not new to the industry or the area. Managed this market for Waste Connections several years ago, parish disposal, so I've been in the business and in the parish for quite some time. Was moved over to Slidell, then to Baton Rouge and the Lafayette and Lake Charles markets, and had an opportunity to come home with this company and took advantage of it. About a month after arriving is when the impacts of the virus started to happen. And the first thing that we saw right off the bat, especially with the stay-at-home order, was an increase in volume. We have averaged, depending on the market, depending on the line of business, anywhere from 30+% increase in the volume. It's evident in our disposal bills, which residential runs normally around 70, 75,000, and has been well over 100 the past couple of months. $100,000, that is. And I say that to say that, you know, when we run the amount of routes that we run with the amount of drivers that we have, obviously there's a little breathing room in there, but, you know, we try to run a tight, efficient operation from a logistics standpoint. And when you see those types of volume increases, it makes things very, very difficult. We were dealing with that and doing pretty good, and then the labor issues started. We lost about with including who's out now, at least 6 people to, you know, either quarantine or virus symptoms or actual contraction of it. And when you lose that percentage of your workforce, that just the driver force, which we have about 20 some odd drivers per day, and we've had as many as 3 to 4 out at one time. Hard to prepare for that and backfill when it takes, you know, a certain amount of weeks to bring on a new driver and get them trained. We're not going to forego our adherence to our safety policies and safety practices. We don't believe it's safe to hire someone and put them on the road the next day. That's not safe for them, and it's not safe for the public that we're around. The next thing that and obviously I have to speak to what really keeps our business going are the men and women on the back of the trucks. Every truck runs at least one, if not two people on the back, and it's a tough job, and we have been faced with a situation where they're able to bring in a greater income not working for us. And that has obviously come to be quite a challenge. That's ending, I think. I think we're on the tail end of that, and we've started to already see some of those employees come back, so that's a good thing. But it's certainly taken its toll on us. The final thing has been the ability to staff mechanics. That has been probably our most recent struggle. We have many mechanics applying online. We set up interviews, they don't show. And it's become pretty clear that they're doing it for the application. And so I don't want any of that to sound like an excuse for the service that's been provided over the past few weeks, but some of you that I've worked with in the past, Mr. Buddy, Carlo, David, I think I'll be very transparent, very upfront with you. I'll tell you what the issues are, and I never intend to tell you that we can do something that I know we can't. That being said, we know how to do, and we know how to deliver the service that the parish expects. It is, in my, I guess, 11 years doing this, I've never seen anything this difficult or this challenging, especially all at one time. And I think that's been the biggest thing. We can deal with excessive trash. We can deal with a little bit of shortage on the labor side. We can deal with a truck that doesn't run. But when you put it all together, it's tough. And I mentioned the mechanic piece because that's what's really started to creep up on us here over the past probably 3 to 4 weeks has been we're about 4 headcounts short on mechanics, and that's even with increased wage offerings. And that obviously translates into equipment problems from a preventative maintenance standpoint. What I don't want to do is walk out and just tell you, those are our issues, wish us luck. I will tell you that we've made some strides. We did rent 2 pieces of equipment. One just arrived from Houston. One will arrive, I think, tomorrow from Tampa. We also signed contracts to buy 2 new pieces of equipment, one of which will be here this week. Those aren't quick fixes because it takes a few days to get the trucks. They're also not cheap fixes, but we believe that not only is it a good short-term investment to get back in front of the challenges, but those will provide good long-term investments for operating in the parish for hopefully years to come. I will say that I know a couple of you reach out directly. I encourage you to continue to do that, and I would ask that you all do that. I'll make certain that everybody has my cell phone number. And I can tell you that, we've got many team members that are working excessive hours, Saturdays and Sundays. I spoke with a couple of drivers this morning and just thanked them because they've worked about 21 days straight, including the weekends. And anybody that's been outside knows that's not real comfortable right now. So, again, none of this is excuses. I just want you to know each and every challenge so that you can kind of see what we've been fighting and how it's kind of all come together. And But we do feel like with the purchase of the new equipment, and the final thing, I have contracted with a third-party mechanic company out of Texas that can send in mechanics for weeks at a time. So we've set up to start with 2 weeks. It's pretty expensive, but we believe that's if we can get back into the preventative maintenance side with our equipment, that'll be a big help. So again, these are just some of the things. Like I said, I don't want you to think we're just sitting back hoping it gets better. We are putting plans in action. But anything I can do to help you specifically, please let me know, and we'll do so.
I guess I don't know if this is parish-wide or it's mainly affecting the north end of the parish. Could you? It's everywhere.
It's certainly parish-wide, and not. I will tell you, just for us as a company, we've got the same exact thing in East Feliciana, St. Helena, which we service. And then, so it's but it's an industry thing too. You can look at the issues on South Shore right now. There's some pretty major contracts down there being in jeopardy of being lost. Baton Rouge is having it. We talked to some folks in East Feliciana today that said that they have family in Zachary that can't get garbage picked up. It's definitely something that's more widespread than even just Tangipahoa, much less Amwaste in Louisiana.
What do we tell people that call us? Just sorry they're working on it, or
So
because some of them telling me they've been waiting up to an extra week, so they skip a whole week that they've not been picked up.
Yeah,
And
so
where I'm at, a lot of people bring it to the road, and there's animals and wild dogs and everything else. So if they don't go out to the road and bring it back, then it's going to be all over the ditches, and we're going to have litter everywhere. So they're having to make an effort every day to put it out. Is there any way they can get
Sure.
the information of when you're coming?
and that's something we talked about recently doing, because last week was really the first week that we were presented with that challenge of having something that we couldn't physically get to for the week. Every other week we have been able to get there. It may not be on the correct day. I would tell you, encourage them to reach out to us, but with the call volume, that has become increasingly difficult, and we understand that as well. We did, again, just to I don't want to just tell you the problem, I'll tell you the solution. We reached out to get some temporary staffing in today. Lauren's working on that to try to have some help on the phones for these call volumes. I, as much as the resident, can't stand an automated system if I can help it. The automated system is there as a backup to the live people. So if they can't answer it, we'd rather them at least have a service versus just nothing. So that's another piece. We do have, and I was going to, ask some of you individually, but I'll ask as a group. I mean, we have the ability to post updates on our Facebook page. We'd be happy to do that. We haven't to this point just because we didn't want to create any further confusion, because everything in our lingo is route numbers. So if I say that N153 is going to run this day instead of that day, that means nothing. So we'd have to really get specific with geographical areas, specific roads. If you live within X miles of this road, we can do that. Honestly, the big reason for putting that off has been we've had such a plan to be in front of this by now that we didn't want to get to that point. So, there are some things. I think the communication piece, assuming this doesn't turn rapidly, would probably be the next step, Trent.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to beat you up. These are all valid statements, and I can understand how we got here, but we have to be able to answer the questions that come to us from the constituents.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions I got today, would there be a reduction in the bill since they didn't pick up the trash as much as they're supposed to?
We have been doing. You said a reduction in the bill. Yes, we have been issuing some credits. That started, I think, last week for the first time, and that is primarily to anyone that we know we couldn't get to that route. Now, I will say that was a very small sample. We did, we've been able to touch almost every route again until last week. This week's started off much better. Again, we rented one unit from Houston. That helped. Had a new driver start this morning. Again, got to train them, but things are progressing. But if it's a route that we know we had issues with, then we have issued some of those credits. So
Does
they're
that automatically occur? Do they need to call in and request that, or is that
as of right now, it's been a phone call that's generated. I will tell you just another side note to this. We've had to really, and again, this is not the masses by any means, but it is a measurable variable. Being that the volume has increased the way it has, we've had to really push the message of monitoring credit hold customers to the drivers. So we have had some customers that have called in, hey, you haven't picked me up. Well, your bill's not paid. Well, you've been picking it up. So it's like, well, we have, but, because we try to, no different than if we run a route that we know had problems the week prior, we're not going to leave something down and say, well, they didn't call in a bulk pickup. We're just going to get it because we know that it's probably on us. So there again, we have had some customers, not only with skipped service, but also having their carts removed, that when they call in, they find they haven't paid their bill. Again, not a huge number, but we are seeing some of that as well.
And what's the number for them to call?
Our local number is 985-878-9998.
I'm going to add to that as well. We have a customer 6 of us.
Okay.
All of them stay on the phone. I kind of looked through it. That is probably the best way right now. And it's customerservice.la@amwasteusa.com.
Amwaste USA.
USA.com. And I work unfortunately a lot at night too with emails, so if it doesn't get done during the day, I usually glance at it in the evening.
Anybody else got?
I have one question, Dustin.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Did you have the opportunity to follow up on that call I put to you this afternoon?
Yes, sir. It's exactly what we had discussed. The driver, Kendrick, usually starts in Woodlake, and today's driver, while Kendrick's on vacation,
Different driver.
he's finishing in Woodlake.
Got it.
We'll be
Thank
there.
you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
You have a business card?
Yes, sir, I do.
I'll take one.
All right.
Okay, buddy.
Dustin, the only thing that I've noticed in my district, 1 week there was 1 day late, next week there was 2 days late. So when I called to get an explanation, and they told me exactly what you just said. And actually the supervisor I called to talk to was driving a truck because the truck driver. So I understand what y'all are going through.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's,
And I can tell you, I'm in that same business, well, using trucks. And 2 of our owners are driving right now. Because to tell you the truth about it, it's hard to keep somebody working when they can draw $842 a week staying at home. So I understand totally, and I know people are frustrated, but I also understand when you're at home how much more garbage you're making. So it's a kind of catch-22. The route that you would run with 1 truck, you probably having to have a truck and a half to get that route done, so you're taking a truck from somewhere else to try to finish that route, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a real problem, and I think it's not going to be settled until this unemployment situation goes back to $200 a week, and then they have to go back to work, you know?
right. And it hasn't affected our drivers near as much because most of them do better than that extended unemployment. But the guys on the back, that's where the issue has been because they can make at least the same, if not a little bit more, depending on the paperwork. So.
Does anybody else have anything?
I had a few complaints that when they came back and they picked up one house and they skip another house. I had a couple of those, so just kind of want to.
Without specifics, I would say that sounds like what we were just talking about with the non-pay, because if we're on a road, we're certainly not going to pick and choose. So that would be, and again, if you have an example or one you can call me with, I can look in the history.
I'll get one of your cards.
Okay, yeah, you can shoot me an email or I'll look and see, because that's usually about the only reason for that, other than, if it's not out, but sometimes that's the case, sometimes it's not. I understand that.
Let me just say this, a few times I've called Dustin, he's taking care of it, called me back. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm the same way, and Lauren's the same thing. If I call the office, it's taken care of almost immediately. And I understand Trenton them's so far away up there, and it's so rural. I know the problems are probably, are much worse up that way, but hopefully people understand the situation that we got going on right now. And I think y'all would love to pick up all the garbage on one run and be done with it. Because I'm sure y'all got some headaches during the day,
Yeah,
But,
and again, Trent, like I said, to be transparent with you, it's because of the way they run. We basically start south beginning of the week and move north. So we get up there into the week, and that's, things have snowballed on us. So,
Well, Dustin,
the information.
thank you a lot, man. And listen, I really appreciate you coming and being straight with us. I mean, that means a lot. And there wasn't no excuses. It's just the facts, and I think all of those will stand for themselves. So I appreciate that, and hopefully the people listening understand what they need to do. So thank both of y'all for coming.
You got it. Anything I can do to help, y'all let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I better not.
Okay, Mr. Miller? Our first one's been pulled, Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir. Just to add on to the Amwaste, we do have a list of all the complaints, so if y'all are getting complaints, you can call either Connie at the landfill or Rhonda here, and she's adding it to the list. They're adding it to the list so we can keep a running total and track it and see that all the efforts are actually paying off. So just let us know too.
Okay.
Well, good evening, and like you said, Mr. Bruno, the first item, the Lions Keys, they had some because of COVID and all the latest restrictions, they'd rather not come, so we're going to move that to another time. Item number 2 is approval of the bid for the Tangipahoa Parish Government Safe Room at Pleasant Ridge. It is a FEMA grant funding. We had 6 bids. The low bidder is CM Combs Construction LLC for $747,000. They've met all the requirements to be selected, and all the bid sheets to see everybody that bid is in your packet. We do have Holly and Smith here if y'all have any specific questions about that process.
Where are they from, Robbie, do you know?
Where are they from? It wasn't on the list. Mandeville? Mandeville, I think.
Okay. All right, they're the low bidder at $747,000 for the construction of the safe room. What do y'all want to do?
Also move.
Okay. Have a motion by Mr. Vial,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Forrest, to approve the bids for the Tangipahoa Parish Government Safe Room at $747,000.
I have a question for you. Have we ever had them do any work for us before?
I don't, not that I'm not under my administration, under this administration, no, sir. Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to.
That's right.
I mean, low bidder's low bidder.
You're right. It is what it is.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. The next item is COVID-19 statutory and regulation waivers for Tangipahoa Parish Government Housing Choice Voucher Program. There's a significant list of them in your packets. Basically, it's either delaying or waiving certain criteria for the office and for the tenants to be able to keep their housing properly taken care of, to not have anybody have to be evicted or have to hold up longer than they should. Overall, it's just basically a delay of the requirements.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Wells. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Approval, number 4 is approval of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Hammond and Tangipahoa Parish Government for overlay work in Whitmore Acres. We were able to add, this intergovernmental agreement is a little different because it's actually a 50-50 split, so we're doing it together to
Now
get
that's,
that.
you're just going in there where they got some isolated bad base areas and working on those. You're not doing the whole road.
Not the whole thing, correct.
Okay.
It's
Now, when it
like our
curves
shares,
real bad.
our share's only like $22,000, so it's not significant. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, motion by Mr. Richter,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Wells, to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of, I was going to say New Orleans, City of Hammond and the Tangipahoa Parish Government. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you. And item number 5 is approval of an intergovernmental agreement between Tangipahoa Parish Government and the Tangipahoa Sewer District regarding the LCDBG grant for the Velma Sewer Phase 2. We did a little bit of paperwork last meeting for that. That's that $1 million grant that Mr. Joseph took. He wrote it himself. He wrote the check himself. And
As long as he didn't give it to himself, we all right.
we need this to keep the project going to take the next steps.
Does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Okay.
I'll
Motion
second.
by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Wells, for approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Tangipahoa Parish Government and the Tangipahoa Parish Sewer District in regards to the Velma Sewer Project. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Congratulations, Mr.
Say
Joseph.
a little something about that.
Sure.
That's Robbie. You know, I've been on this every day visiting up there in Belmont, where we are now, and I'm coordinating with Chuck Spangler and Laura Mosier. We got to find a 25-foot by 25-foot area that we have to buy to put up the lift station.
The station.
So I'm keeping everybody informed. Once we get, I'm that close to getting it done.
Okay.
Yeah, so we.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, we working. Thank you.
Whenever you're focused, you get it done. I know that, so.
Go Saints.
If you don't mind, I have a couple of notes I'd like to talk about. As we know, COVID-19 has spiked in everywhere, and in Tangipahoa Parish. The numbers that we're most concerned about is our hospitalizations. 3 weeks ago, we were down to 7 people in North Oaks Hospital. Everybody pretty much goes to North Oaks if they're going to go to in the parish to go to the hospital. On Friday of last week, we were up to 26. Again, that was about where we were in May, about 8 weeks ago. We were about 26 or so. We went down to 7. We jumped back up to the 26 happily today. I can tell you just a minute ago, my phone, whenever it rang earlier, it was Michelle Sutton giving me today's update. We had some people leave, and we had a few more come in, back and forth, but we're roughly 20 Tangipahoa Parish citizens in North Oaks currently. There are 2 more. There's a possibility of 1 or 2 more coming in tonight. So we're going to be in that low 20s.
How about the ventilator?
We have 1 at this point.
Out of the 20?
Out of the 20, yes, sir. And I think 3 in ICU still, maybe 4 in ICU. She was talking kind of fast, and I was trying to get off the phone, so I didn't get quite the details that I normally get. But overall, we're kind of, we had that, maybe we're in the spot where our plateau is there, and we're going to keep that around that 20. We stayed in the 20 range for about 3 or 4 weeks, about 8 weeks ago. So, and the hospital's in good shape there. They can still do all the elective surgeries. They can still take care of any accidents or emergencies. So we're nowhere near overrunning the hospital, which is the concern that we always have with this disease. So we're going to encourage everybody to wear their mask. It is a mandate by the governor, and just be respectful. The second item is good news. It's probably better news, is that our sales tax receipts for the month of May were up approximately 4% over the month of May last year. For the year, we're right at 4% higher than we were 2019. With all the businesses that are closed and the shutdown, what to me it proves, and we need to tout this message, is if we shop locally, it makes a big difference. So whenever we get to start moving again, and everything gets open, and we get to start really being our economy fully going, let's remember that, to shop locally, and it makes a big difference for parish government and for our school system. Especially our school system is funded by 2-cent sales tax. We're funded by the 1-cent sales tax, and we can see that just by shopping at home, it makes a big difference. So that I'm finished. Any questions?
I got one. I think a lot of confusion with this is, they turn out the reports every day, and you show 60 new people in Tangipahoa, but then you look, they're not delineating between. There are 60 people that test positive, but those 60 people could be perfectly fine. They go home and they stay 14 days, but I think when they put that out, it makes people believe there's 60 people went to the hospital today,
Potentially, yes, sir. I understand.
And I get a lot of that. People say, "Oh man, how many's in the hospital?" Well, there's not that many.
Well, that's why what we watch and what I try to talk about is the number of people in the hospital, and it did go up. Let's go. It's 3 weeks ago it was 7. Today it's 20. So, but Friday it was 26. So we're doing what we need to do. The hospital's in good shape. The average age of the people being infected is considerably lower, under 30 for the most part. The returns are coming back. The majority of folks 30 and under is where the big spike is. The issue there is, do they go bring it back to all of us older folks and anybody in their families that are susceptible to or have underlying conditions that can make it significant.
See, there's a moral to that.
Oh, goodness.
If you're in too good a shape, you could get sick. So you try to stay out of shape, and it may skip.
Is that what it is? Well, so yes, sir.
I serve on the North Oaks Foundation Board, and we meet on the first Tuesday of each month. And Michelle really bragged on your leadership and your concern, and she speaks with you 2 or 3 times a day. So they're really proud. But I brought up the fact that when we have the free testing, not the rapid test, the free testing, it just takes so long to get the results back. That's true too. And it's not North Oaks because I think it's the Louisiana Department of Hospitals, whomever.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, because The tests are being, it's a partnership between LDH, Governor's Office of Homeland Security, LDH, Department of Hospitals, Health, the National Guard,
Right.
the parishes, to have the test performed, to get them done, the locations, to get the process set up.
Right.
But Quest, in this area, all of our tests go to Quest. And then they have to get shipped to, I'm not sure which place, if it's Texas or Colorado, but they get shipped overnight. And they're getting thousands and I mean, the governor said that on Friday was his press conference, right? He said 195,000 tests in 11 days since in July. Well, that's a lot of tests that have to get there and get back. And I think this whole state's going to Quest. So that doesn't, and I don't know what the rest of the country's doing. So you can imagine the backlog, and it is a concern. I think the biggest thing is we should all act like we have it, so that we don't spread it to someone else. Social distance, wash your hands, cough in your sleeve, wipe down surfaces, all those things they've been telling us since day one. And we were doing it. We were doing well with it. I think that our hospitalizations are down. We're not overwhelming our hospitals. So we're okay. We can still enjoy life, just be a little more careful.
Joey?
Is there any, are they giving us any medical reason why, right in the beginning, they were putting people on ventilators like crazy, and now you're getting tested, they're being positive, they're getting sick, but then we don't have that many on ventilators anymore. Is there any medical
one
reason
it's not the method of treatment, but more importantly is the people are not getting as sick, because the ventilator is still a last option. We're just not getting sick. One of my text messages with Michelle last week was that although we had 26, they're younger and they're not as sick.
So it's basically younger, though, is what it is. We kind of went through the older.
And I think they
group.
found out that them ventilators, once you get on them, and if you stay on it for so long, then your body doesn't want to perform like it used to, So I think they're learning as they go too, so kind of a learning experience for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bruno now has a medical degree besides his
law degree.
Oh, you're in it.
As much as I'm in and out, I get all these. Anybody else for the parish president? Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6, LSU Ag SE Southeast Region Forest Wildlife Program update. I think we have somebody here from from the Ag Department. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
And she looks like a new face.
Well, actually, while she's wiping it down, I'm just going to get started. Thank you all once for letting me share. My name is Brittany Wallace, and I am with LSU Ag Center. I have my lovely regional director for the Southeast region. We have Dr. Chiquita Briley here as well, and I'm just so happy for the council to allow us this time to talk with you guys. Grab these folders, and Dr. Briley, if you wouldn't mind, if you would assist me in handing these out to each of the council members. Or on this side so it might fall out. Okay. All right. I hope y'all don't mind me taking off my mask while I speak. I am going on script because if I go off script, we'll be here all night. So
no, we're not.
I'm going to make it really quick for you guys. But again, I'm with the LSU Ag Center, and I'm sure y'all have at one point in your life maybe experienced a contact with one of our county agents, our 4-H agent. But I just want to give some of the highlights here because we are a parish resource and we want to be utilized by the residents of Tangipahoa Parish. And again, we're excited that, that we can be helpful and be a resource for people. So again, we are county agents. We're family and consumer scientists, 4-H agents helping Tangi residents. Basically, the best use of natural resources, protecting the environment, enhancing agricultural enterprises, such as our lovely fruit and vegetable farmers, and developing those community and those community resources. So you can kind of think of our Ag Center office right here in Amite as almost you can break it down in 3 different divisions. We have our A&R, which is agricultural and natural resources. That's where you're going to find our horticulturalists. That's where you're going to find any of our dairy specialists, beef specialists, and even myself. I'm the forestry specialist for the Southeast region. And then you'll have the FCS, which is Family and Consumer Sciences. Basically breaking that down, that's just food and nutrition, and they do a wonderful job. We have nutrition educators and agents on board. And then lastly, we have, of course, I'm sure everybody's well aware of the 4-H program. I'm sure if you weren't a 4-H member, you might know of somebody in your past, in your school age, who was. So Just to give you all a little brief update, before the challenges of the pandemic, the Ag Center, we were the go-to resources, and still are, for field days, workshops, continuing education, and lots of different activities. Some that y'all might be familiar with, the Master Cattleman, Master Gardener programs, they continue to be a popular program within the Tangipahoa area. Graduates of the Master Gardener program, they go on to complete 40 hours of volunteer service within their first year of completing that workshop. And after that, they're invited to join the Tangipahoa Parish Master Gardener program. Right now, we have about 90 active members, and you might realize some of their events that they help us with the Ag Center. We have the Camellia Stroll that happens the second Sunday in February every year. Also, we have the Spring Garden Days. Lately, we've been having it at the lovely Florida Parishes Arena. So they've been very active in a lot of events that we've had. Pollination Celebration was one that we had a couple of years ago that was very big in the community, and as well as they're an arm for the LSU Ag Center. So whenever our agents are strapped helping some of our commercial fruit and vegetable and cattle farmers, a lot of our homeowners that may need help, our Master Gardeners are our go-to people. So that is a volunteer program that we heavily rely on, and it's much needed. So we're super excited to have them in our parish. All right, so any given day you can find agricultural and resource agents like myself. We're out there field and site visits, phone calls. We're heading to, helping one another as far as, the commercial fruit and vegetable farmers with potential insect and disease issues to managing, pastoral weeds with cattle. There's so many aspects to what we do and how we work with from anywhere your commercial farmers all the way down to your homeowners. And then we also work with the local businesses. One example would be the Kentwood Co-op. We work to help provide educational workshops, meetings, and programs. A lot of it with Kentwood Co-op is for our dairy and our beef producers on animal production, pasture management, and weed control. So basically, anything that can help the Tangipahoa residents, we help them, especially when it comes to pesticide applicator license. We help them also with their continuing education credits. And then whether it's a homeowner with a garden question or a cattle farmer with a production issue or a landowner that needs help with maybe some basic forest management issues, we're there helping them make their best management decisions. Just to give you a little recap on our SNAP education program, that is basically the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and basically that's some of our, residents that, they have supplemental nutrition, assistance, but we're helping them with our agents and our educators going out there and with a limited budget make those healthier decisions, see what they can do with the limited budget to make those healthy choices, and stay within those dietary guidelines for Americans in the USDA. All right, so our agents and educators, we're unbiased, research focused, and our nutrition education programs, they have physical activity promotion, interventions, healthy eating habits, physically active lifestyles. You're going to find a lot of our nutrition educators and agents, they're out and about. They're going to hit up the community sources such as the churches, the schools, anywhere that people are receptive. They're going to go out and have programs. And you might know with Roseland Montessori Elementary, they have a great garden, and that is pretty much Miss Donna Landry, our nutrition educator. She is wonderful. She has worked with that school, and that garden is going wonderful. In fact, even during the pandemic, I got word back that the garden was still producing without the children there, still caring for it. The blueberry bushes were doing great, and the fruit trees were just wonderful. So that's good to know that it hasn't quite failed on us with the children not being there. But last but not least is our Tangipahoa 4-H program. Our program currently has around 873 youth members. We reach over 1,900 youth, and that's among our various parish, district, and state level programs and activities. We have about 34 clubs across the parish. 2 of those are going to be your homeschool community types. Our parish reaches a very diverse audience of youth, which parallels with the demographics of our diverse parish. Those enrollments, guys, they continue to increase. You're going to see increased numbers in Shooting Sports Project Club. We have a lot of new members coming in that. Our Poultry Project Club, we're seeing a very big increase in interest for poultry and chickens now. And then, of course, our Livestock Project Club is also having a bigger interest. And what does this mean? That's a greater representation of Tangipahoa Parish 4-H on a regional and now a state level. Some of our shooting sports and livestock participants, they even went on to national levels, and they represented Tangipahoa Parish pretty well. So many of our members include our junior leaders. These guys are out there performing community service, educational, and fun activities that benefit our parish. And with that being said, due to the recent onset of the coronavirus pandemic, we face challenges just like everybody else in here. But we realize we've got to meet the needs of those clientele, and we're not going to revamp our platform, but we're going to change up our delivery a little bit. And I think that's where we're going to shine the most. Many of our agents have worked remotely since the beginning of the pandemic, and they have not lost footing, guys. We still continue to serve the needs of Tangipahoa residents, and we're remaining relevant by becoming more virtual. So, I mean, I know, like for myself, you know, when people call in with questions, you know, I'm asking them to send pictures, we're emailing. Now I'm getting them to FaceTime, and we're even using Zoom. So a lot of that is helping to reach our clients with today's needs. I know it's a little bit, you know, the new normal, but unfortunately, you know, we've got to do what we can. And right now we are starting to go back on site visits with social distancing. So we're beginning efforts back in that arena as well. All right, so with the uncertainty of what tomorrow will look like, our agents have begun also a wide array of virtual programming. I'm excited to say our 4-H Facebook page has many engaging virtual contests. A lot of our kids have participated in 4-H Fest. That usually happens at the 4-H arena, and that is a big deal. That's over 1,000 kids that participate every spring. Because we had to cancel that, we did go online and offer those contests virtually. That was a big hit. Miss Megan said that they had a very good number for that. They've also had virtual recess activities, anywhere from backyard activities, stress relief, and self-care. So I know I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna make it really quick. So basically, even our A&R agents are making use of that virtual platform. You know, we're having some of our horticultural agents work with our nutrition agents. We're having online workshops to where we can learn how to grow herbs and then dry them. Even though our Master Cattleman class right now is currently suspended, we are fortunate enough to have a series called Beef Brunch that's keeping our cattlemen active, and they're able to learn virtually from experts on campus and with some of our specialists. So us, as the LSU Ag Center Extension Office, we look forward to continuing to offer agricultural education to the residents in Tangipahoa Parish. We will continue to adapt, you know, our teaching methods to suit whatever challenges that, you know, we may face at this time. And our office will continue to offer those workshops and events and activities that we've had before. They just may look a little different and a newer style to help accommodate our parish. So I want to thank you again. Thank you so much for the Tangipahoa Parish Council, to you, President Robbie Miller, for y'all's continued support of the LSU Ag Center, its mission, innovate, educate, and improve lives. So I'm going to see if Dr. Brawley would like to add any to that. I know I talked fast. I had a lot to get out.
Before you step away, can we get the phone number to the LSU Ag Center?
Absolutely. So our office is actually located right here a block over. That number is going to be 985-748-9381. And you can call us at any time. We also, you know, have voicemail. So if any of our agents are working remotely and they're not in that office, we can check that voicemail and get right back to you. So I'm going to...
So let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
I read recently that there's a shortage of bees in the United States, and as a result, it's affecting the pollination. Do you agree with that?
I think there is a reduction, and the good thing about the LSU Ag Center is that we've been very active and proactive with that, with our pesticide applicator class and with those continuing education courses and educating farmers on the correct use of pesticides.
Yeah.
We're able to get a hold of that a little bit better. So again, it comes back to education, that unbiased research, and being able to get that out to the masses, the farmers who are, you know, the ones who are using the pesticides, because it's, you know, a lot of farmers think, you know, more is better. That's not necessarily the case. And, you know, with education, we can help mitigate that.
All right, one more thing.
All right.
If a home is infested with bees, will the Ag Center come and get those bees?
All right, so I would love to tell you yes, but we are simply just an educational resource, but I can help find you someone who can. So give me a call. I have business cards, and actually I have parting gifts for you guys, you know, just because y'all were so sweet to listen to us. I have a Louisiana tree book that's in full color. It's one of my favorite books, so if you guys like trees as much as I do, it's in color. So if you got a tree that you just don't know what to identify, this is the super Bible book of trees that you can use. So I have a box of those. I'll leave those with Miss Kristen so y'all can grab one.
Well, I want this lady to talk because she has listened to you. She's got to get her chance.
I know, right?
So please,
She's been patient.
and I can tell you don't lose your voice at work because you probably don't get a chance to speak very much.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity for us to come and speak to you today. I am the Southeast Regional Director, which means my position, we're over 16 parishes within the Southeast region. We have 3 research stations, of course. Hammond Research Station is dedicated to horticulture. And so it's on Covington Road. So definitely, please, once we start opening up to the public, I do invite you to come out there and come look and see the wonderful flowers that are there, some of the super plants that are out there that you maybe want to look at, also different ways and methods to even grow some of the things that you're interested in if you've seen in somebody else's backyard or front yard. Also, too, we just want to say thank you so much for supporting us. We really, truly appreciate that. Without you all, we couldn't do the job that we need to do. And so we appreciate the funding that you have provided to us. And lastly, what I would like to say is we are excited about the new methodologies that we're using as a part to extend our programming. We're reaching more people, even virtually. And you wouldn't think that because of some of the issues we know, that in some parts of this particular parish and others, the internet is not the best. And so that can be a challenge. But thank goodness we've been able to kind of override that, and we've been having kids participate as well as adults participate in learning a new skill. So that's really, really great for us. So if you need us for anything, please let Ms. Whitney Wallace know. She's the interim parish chair. And also, please make sure to let me know at the Southeast Regional Office, which is at the Hammond Research Station. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all for what y'all do.
Look, is that where Sandra Benjamin used to work?
Whitney, can I ask you one question? Are y'all accepting soil samples at the office right now?
All right, so I'll address that real quick. Before the pandemic came on board, we offered the soil test kits inside our office, but once the pandemic happened and a lot of our agents went to remote working, I went ahead and put that kiosk outside. Those soil tests are available 24/7. It's super easy. All those boxes are all inclusive. You just take the plastic wrap off. There's a form in there. You just check off what you'd like your soil tested for. There's 3 little Ziploc bags, a sample each, and you just put it back in the box. It's ready to mail. It's already got it stamped.
So they're outside the building?
They're outside the building,
Okay.
and that has really worked because I'm refilling it probably about every other week. I'm refilling it.
So we just fill it, bring it back, and set it by the door?
Actually, you give it to your postman. It's already got a stamp and ready to go.
Okay.
We've made it as easy as possible for you
Okay.
guys. And whenever you get those results back in, if it looks like Greek and you can't read it, give us a call. We'll walk you through it.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to number 7. Adoption of TP ordinance number 2021, an ordinance placing a 4-way stop sign at the intersection of Stafford Road, New Genesee Road, and Provada Lane in District 4, Tangipahoa Parish, in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage. That's my district, and I'd ask somebody to make that motion. Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Ingraffia. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Mr. Miller, can we get those up pretty quick? I mean, they want them bad.
They want to stop sign that.
Number 8, motion passes. Number 8, adoption of TP ordinance number 2022, an ordinance placing 20-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on April Lane in District 2 in Tangipahoa Parish in accordance with Chapter 20, Streets, Roads, Sidewalks, and Drainage. Mr. Ingraffia?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Ingraffia.
Second.
Second by Mr. Joseph. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 9, Adoption of TP ordinance number 20-23, an ordinance to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to execute any and all documents in regard to the donation of the property listed herein from the Louisiana Land Trust Restore Louisiana Buyback Program. I have a motion.
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Mayu, second by Ms. Hyde. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay, motion passed. Number 10, adoption of TP ordinance number 20-24, an ordinance to grant a variance to the Tangipahoa Parish subdivision regulation setback requirements for lots 34 and 35 of Milan Village subdivision in District 8.
That's mine. There are two lots that have a little drainage lateral going across the back, and some of the properties across the drainage lateral just allows the setback, instead of 25 feet from the road, would be 20 feet.
Okay.
Gives them a little more backyard.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion, sir.
Motion by Mr. Vial, second by Mr. Risto. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passed. Number 11, adoption of TP ordinance number 2025, an ordinance placing a moratorium on the consideration and/or preliminary approval through the Planning Commission for any new residential subdivisions with over 8 lots and special use residential commercial developments for a period of 60 days within Tangipahoa Parish south of Interstate 12. Do I have a motion?
Got a question.
Yes.
Any extension of this would have to be a complete vote of the entire council?
Yeah.
I'd like to say something.
Yes,
real quick.
ma'am.
I have no plans to extend this. We've had some really good meetings, some really good discussions. I think we're on the right path, and I feel very confident that we're going to get the items that we're talking about passed within the 60 days. We do have specific goals. We have issues that we know need to be addressed. If you read Mr. Don Elsie's article in the Daily Star Sunday, 3 of the councilmen all agree that we need a fill ordinance, a limit on fill. So, like I said, I feel we can confidently do this in 60 days, and I have no reason to think that we would extend it past that time. One other thing I would like to say, there are over 1,600 lots that have been approved from the parish line between Tangipahoa and St. Tammany, the river south of 12. Those homes have not been built yet. We are not going to stop home building. We're not going to put any builders out of business, or roofers or electricians or plumbers or anyone. I go to church in BDCO. I'm out that way all the time. There were 9 lots right on 22 in Cypress Reserve that the slabs were poured, I think today. I don't remember seeing them yesterday. Today? Yeah. So they poured 9 slabs this morning. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Hyde,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Coates.
I just have a comment. We are working hard to try to make a lot of changes, okay? Ms. Hyde is correct. We've made a lot of changes. We're going to continue to make changes, and I think we are getting our focus narrowed onto the larger subdivisions. Okay, I just don't believe we need a moratorium to get there, okay? I think everybody's on the same page. I think we're headed in the same direction, and I think we're going to achieve that goal. And I do believe this all started with we've been working on this for years, but the big rain that hit in May, in that BDCO, Robert kind of area, really brought this forward, okay? The moratorium extends from St. Tammany to Livingston. So I just don't understand why we're swiping from St. Tammany to Livingston Parish. I think we were more focused in on the area of concern. But anyway, I just don't think we need this particular moratorium to accomplish what we want to accomplish. But every discussion we've had has been about large subdivisions. Hadn't been about group homes, hadn't been about RV parks, hadn't been about it. It's all been around the large subdivisions. And I think we know that's what we need to tackle. So anyway, we're all headed in the same direction.
So I'd like to.
Hold on, let me get Mr. Mayhew and then you, Ms. Coach.
I want both sides to know that Mr. Vial and Ms. Bailey have been working diligently at making changes as this has been going on and before all this took place. We want both sides to know that we want to move as fast as we can forward with this. If we can get this moratorium cut off as fast as we can, that's what our objective is. The objective is to work together and get it done, get the changes made that need to be made so that we can benefit both parties. We're not trying to shut the parish down. I know everybody thinks that we're here to shut the parish down in business. That is not the objective. But I just want both sides to know that they've been working countlessly hours to get this done. And we're going to continue to do it. We're going to make the changes as we go, but we're going to get it moving fast as we go.
I do have one other comment, if I may.
Not yet, not until Ms. Coach
I'm
has
sorry,
her.
Ms. Coates. Mention the consultant.
Yeah, so I know on my side in May, I didn't have the 15 inches of rain. I have about 7 inches of rain. And, I did have some people flood. But week in and week out, go and visit people, walking ditches, walking canals, I hear over and over, the water was never this high. The water never came this high. I'm getting more water than ever. People that's been there over 50, 60, 70 years. So it's not just the big subdivisions. I haven't went to all of the committee meetings because, I'm not on the committee. So I haven't pushed. I know the big subdivisions is part of it. But yes, the southern end is having a lot of problems, a lot of issues. I speak with Kylie almost every other day about issues. And so, yes, we need to make some changes, and the fill is really part of it. You can drive down just anywhere, even just regular houses, not just big subdivisions, and everybody's building up. Everybody's building up. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but we just have to make sure we don't hurt other people. So we have to make sure we protect everyone.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Beal.
just one other comment. We did initiate a consultant, so I want everybody to know that we have agreed to a consultant. Ms. Bailey has communicated. She has been out of the office a little bit, but she has communicated with that consultant, and that will be the consultant we'll be using to move forward. So we'll put a lot of this in their hands, giving them a directional arrow, and they will come back with a lot of recommendations.
Okay. I just have one thing I want to say. I've served on the committee with gentlemen and ladies that are here. I guess I'm going to clarify a couple of things. Those committee meetings are posted. We don't meet in secret. We're trying to get the best advice we can from engineers, all the people that we know that can help us to try to alleviate these problems. My problem with the moratorium, I'm committed to getting something done. I've said that from the beginning, and I will continue to be committed for that. But I think it's giving people a false hope. We go 60 days, we're already doing what we would have done anyway. So 60 days from now, we get 16 inches of rain in 5 hours, and those houses flood. The first thing is going to come out of people's mouth, they haven't done a thing for us. And it's like I've said time and time again, and I'm going to repeat this. Whatever we do in this 60 days, because I know the moratorium is going to pass, it is not, and I want everybody to understand that, it is not going to help the people that are flooding now. Those situations are already there. No matter what we do, we're going to help from this point forward. The people that are having problems now, when you get a 16-inch rain, you're going to have problems again. And I just don't want people to think that in 60 days, we're going to solve all of the issues that took years and years to create. And that's the only thing I'm really afraid of with this. People are gonna think in 60 days, when we come back, and I think I'm pretty confident in 60 days, we're coming back with some things that are gonna make things better. But it's gonna make things better from that point forward. It's not gonna you can't go back and create what's already been done. And this lady back here stated it as perfect as anybody has. When the river fills up, when Beatty Cove Creek fills up, when the south wind is blowing and the lake's full of water, you can have 40 channels down there and it's not going to take the water out. Until that lake recedes back and the river goes down, there is nothing that's going to be done. And as far as new channels, I don't know how in the world we would even dig any new channels. I got called down because we're not applying for permits. Look, the Corps of Engineers will tell you you can dig. They will tell us we can dig, but they don't tell the public you got to buy the wetlands that you're going through. You have to haul the dirt out. You can't spread it on site. You have to make sure there's no wildlife that's going to be affected by it. It would take us 20 years to do what they want us to do to dig one canal. So that's why we've concentrated on the canals that are already down there and cleaning those. But one gentleman made a post that Mr. Bruno said the Corps of Engineers won't let you dig. I talked to them and they said they will. Sure, they'll tell you you can dig, but you got to do all of this first. We don't have enough money in the whole parish if we sold the parish to do what they want us to do. So we're trying to manipulate and do the things that we can. And like I said before, there's not a person on this board, and I know them all very well, and they're all good people, that doesn't want to solve this problem. But we're going to be limited to what we can do. And I'm just afraid people are going to think that 60 days is going to solve all the problems, and it's not going to do that. So I just want to make that very clear, because I know 60 days from now, if we get a big rain and somebody floods, it's going to be somebody on Facebook saying they took 60 days and didn't do anything. So I just want that to be known, and that's my only reason. I think we're moving fast, and to tell you the truth, with Bridget's ideas that she's brought to this committee, she's brought fresh new ideas to this committee, and I really appreciate what she's done, and I think we're going to move faster, and I really feel like we'll have something before 60 days. And that's my goal, and I think that's the committee's goal. So at this point, we have a motion and a second. If anybody has anything else, if not, we'll vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-2. Okay, we look forward to get this done and have something to come back to the people in 60 days. Okay, that was number 11. We're going to number 12. Introduction of TP ordinance number 2026, an ordinance to authorize the Tangipahoa Parish Council, parish government to accept the donation of immovable property from TPI Properties LLC from John Pace on Old Covington Highway, and to authorize the parish president or his authorized designee to sign any and all documents in regard to the acceptance of aforementioned donation. Do you want to elaborate on that any?
Actually, I can a little bit, and we have Chapapila Park here to talk about it. It's property that backs up to them that would allow for access to the park, emergency access, I believe. Emergency, right? Secondary entrance there that goes straight out to Old Covington Highway. And for the most part is either no residents or very few residents, right? There's none. Yeah, very few residents along there.
And he's donating 100% of the right-of-way, is that correct?
Donating everything that we would need, or Chapapila would need, and later we'll decide how we take advantage of having that property.
Why are they donating to us and not to the park?
Because it's a road right of way.
Is it gonna need a bridge?
I don't think so, huh?
Isn't there a canal through there?
Crossing. You'll need a culvert crossing, yes. It's one of those things where, everybody knows what's going on around Hammond Rec Park, trying to get out onto Airport Road. I mean, a lot of the same things going on at Punchtool Rec Park, but we do have in the hopper to try to upgrade Hoover Road, and that's at the Regional Planning Commission. This is something that came along, and it's just an opportunity for the donation of the property, and eventually give an outlet at basically the northeast corner, if I got that right, yeah. And it would take it out to Old Covington Highway. So I think it's an important step in the right direction, especially with the future of the park. Things are growing. We have to figure out a way to get traffic out of there somewhere.
Right.
So it just gives us a future option on how to get traffic out of there.
Robbie, this is something that might could get funded through there. Is that a possibility? Through the
RPC,
Yeah.
potentially, or
Potentially.
capital outlay, or,
Yeah.
various different things, especially being a rec district of the city of Hammond, or rec district of the parish, excuse me.
Okay,
Anything else?
what's the pleasure of the board?
Also move.
Motion by Mr. Vial, second by Mr. Mayu. Any question? Not, roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 13, adoption of TP Resolution Number R20-15, a resolution authorizing the establishment of one or more deposit accounts at First Guarantee Bank on behalf of Tangipahoa Parish government for deposit of public funds, providing the parish president to designate authorized persons to act on such accounts.
It's, some of our grants are requiring specific deposit accounts, check their own accounts, so we're having to set those up. And First Guarantee is our fiscal agent, so we're just doing it there.
Okay.
Also,
Motion by Mr. Wells, second by Mr. Joseph, roll call.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, number 14, adoption of TP Resolution Number R20-16, a resolution authorizing Hammond Recreation District Number 1 of the Parish of Tangipahoa, State of Louisiana, to proceed with the issuance, sale, and delivery of its not to exceed $7,750,000 of limited tax revenue refunding bond in one or more series. Well, let me just tell you
You got that look.
let me tell you just one thing. We didn't follow the ordinance we passed. The ordinance is supposed to be somebody from the district is supposed to come to us, let us know what they're gonna do, and then the following meeting, you're supposed to come to do your thing.
Gotcha.
But since you're already here, I'm going to ask if the council doesn't mind, I'll waive it tonight because we do have somebody from the rec district here. Is that correct? So I'm going to let him come up and speak. But in the future, I would love for them to come up at least 2 weeks in advance to let us know so everybody understands about what we're doing.
Gotcha.
Okay? So if one of y'all just want to speak, we'll cover it for tonight and we'll go ahead. And look, I'm not trying to do this to y'all. We passed this a few months ago, and the reason was a lot of times we were getting this the same night and having to vote on it. We kind of want the agency to come before us and just let us know what y'all are doing and that the board has voted on it and everybody's okay with it. Okay? So.
Sure, thank you. My name is Rob Carlisle. I'm currently the chairman for the Chapel Sports Park, the Hammond Area Recreation Board number 1. We were approached with an opportunity, and we were trying to respect the council and follow everything that was presented to do that. We just had a discussion as a local board and felt like we needed to bring this to the council and take an opportunity to kind of review this. This is moving the interest rate, and of course, it's subject to change based on the time when we pull the trigger. From $7,440,000 reduction in interest rate to about a 1.642% rate, with a potential savings of $122,173 to the facility in the park. So
Is
it'd
that
be
a
pretty-
year, Rob?
Pretty significant. That's over the life of the
Of the
entire
bond.
bond, and the bond expires in 2026.
Oh, okay.
So respectfully, it's about 22 to 30,000 a year in savings that we
Okay.
could benefit from as a parish.
Okay. All right, and y'all were good? The board was all good with it?
Unanimous.
Okay, well, now your turn.
Thank you, thank you.
Again, I apologize.
And you know I always like to get you.
I know. That was our first time, and we actually called Kristen and said, how do we do this? And she said, well, send me the ordinance to the district, send it to me so I can send it to them at the same time.
I just would like to see them here. I think everybody would like to have a little better understanding. We all know what it is, but it's good to know that the whole board voted for it and everybody's, you know.
And I appreciate the accommodation because you've been doing this a long time, and you know that with these refundings, they can move in and out of money in a day. And so we always push as hard as we can to get all the paperwork done. And sometimes we get it all done and you can't even do it. I worked on one for Varnado Water in 2017 that we finally closed last year. But we had all the paperwork done and it came back and it was easy. Like he said, yeah, it's about $20,000 a year right now at current market rates. There's total savings of $126,000 over 6 years. Just totally off the subject too, I wanted to mention something or about something President Miller said. So I represent St. Tammany and Livingston. Both of their sales tax collections are down by about 4.5% year over year. I think Livingston's 4.5%, and I think Leslie Long told me that they were just under 4%. But both of them are down year over year, not up 4%, but down by 4%.
Or people stop going there to shop.
Well, Ascension's down 4.5% too. So y'all are certainly not the norm here. But that's all I got.
That's all you need?
That's all I got, Mr. Bruno.
Okay, so I need a motion.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Vial, second by Mr. Mayu? Okay. Anybody got a question? If not, roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Number 15, adoption of TP Resolution Number R20-17, a resolution to urge and request all departments within Parish of Tangipahoa to utilize every available avenue and resource to promote and encourage response to the 2020 federal census, decennial census. I got a call from Representative Nikki Muscarella. He sent over this resolution, and I want to thank a few of the councilmen has been really talking about it. I think right now we're 48th or 46th in the country in respondents to the census. We're way down there.
State-wise?
No, this is nationwide. I think we're 46. And I think he told me in the state of Louisiana, we're like number 40 out of 64, so we're not doing real good. So we need to encourage everyone. It's so simple to get on the internet.
I've done it.
And it takes you, I think it's 8 questions, takes you about 10 minutes. So please, this means federal dollars to the state, means federal dollars to the parish. It means a lot of things. I mean, the sewer works that Mr. Joseph got is funded with federal money. So those are the kind of things. So please encourage all your family members and friends to fill it out.
Carl, let me piggyback on what you said. Robbie did a beautiful op-ed to the Daily Star, encouraging everybody to fill out the census too. Real nice article, Robbie.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion to accept the resolution?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Mayu, second by Mr. Joseph, to adopt the resolution promoting the 2020 census. Roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Appointment, reappointment to Tangipahoa Gravity Drainage District Number 5.
That's in mine. It's in your packet, Mr. Michael Cazeron.
Trent, that's yours?
Yeah, Mike Cazeron. Michael Cazzaroni. He's in the.
Okay, it's a reappointment?
No, it's a new
It's in your
appointment.
packet.
Okay.
It's in the packet, last page.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Forrest.
I second.
Second by Mr. Joseph. Michael
Cazzaroni.
Cazzaroni.
Police chief.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Motion passed. Do you have another one, or is that the only one?
That's it.
Okay. Beer, wine, and liquor? Legal matters? None. I want to thank Mr. Cascio for sitting in today. He's probably the handsomest thing on this board right now, so I really want to thank him for...
Nice head of hair.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking good, you know? No legal matters. Councilman's privilege?
I got one, Carlo.
Okay.
Look, I just addressed to the council and to Robin. If you guys think it's a bad idea, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But, man, sometimes I go into some areas I didn't even know was in my district. And the people, you know, they'll call me about a problem. I put in my GPS and get there, but sometimes they're not home. So I put up in my truck, you know, they all got this doorbell camera. So they can see you were there, but they don't know who you are because, you know, they're just not involved. So I thought about it. I said, well, if the council thinks it's okay, maybe we can get some kind of placards or something to put on our vehicles when we go to these areas that we don't usually go to. So at least when they see us, they'll know that we're with parish government. And I thought about it. I talked to somebody. They said, well, yeah, maybe you can put your name and your council district. I said, no, I don't want that because I don't want people to think we advertising or campaigning. But perhaps we can get the Tangipahoa Parish placard and put on our vehicles when we go into these unusual areas. And I mean, you know, in this day and age, people don't really know who we are until we get there.
Yeah, and you look suspicious.
And magnetic, you could do magnetic.
Yeah, magnetic sign.
Because I go look at, I think, when people call me, I normally go look to make sure what the situation is before I send somebody out there, and I get some pretty weird stares, like, why are you driving up and down? Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
It's true, very true. Very true. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
What's the legal things of having that on our personal vehicles?
Well, I don't think you can ride around with it all the
I
time.
think, Kim, when they call you to come check out a project, just put it on your vehicle at that time. When you finish, you take it out. We are representatives of the parish. So
I tell you what, years ago, I don't know, they may still have them. I got one on my truck. The Police Jury Association gave you a license plate, and it has Tangipahoa, it has, something council, parish council, and I just got it on the front of my truck, you know, so that's, we could do it either way, but that's probably a good idea, Lewis, with all this stuff going on these days, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's so dangerous.
You are not kidding.
I have something.
Okay.
So, Robert, you want to take care of that for? Okay.
All right, Ms. Hyde?
I've got a cleanup scheduled Saturday. We're going to start at Tasker Park, which is on North First Street, and go down to where it turns and it becomes Levine, and it runs back to Range Road. The city councilman is kind of partnering with me, and there's some residents, so hopefully we'll have a big turnout. Ginger's going to come and bring the trailer, and so if anybody wants to come help clean up that area, feel free to come and join us that morning.
Okay. Anybody else?
We're going to start at 7. Just try to beat the heat.
Anybody else? Mr. Mayu? Oh, let me go back down there.
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session. I have a few things to speak about.
Okay. Can we get all the other stuff first?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller, we having any luck with the getting the litter crews back? I know y'all were struggling trying to get some employees and stuff.
I think we have one crew put together, so we have.
Ginger said she had some people that needed service hours that she's going to bring.
I got you. Yeah, I know it's hard to get anybody to do anything right now. I appreciate what you're doing.
Okay. I've got one. Yeah. Anybody else? I've got one thing. I just want to, I had a little accident Thursday with some pool chemicals that exploded on me. And I want to thank some people that went above and beyond. I want to thank the Laranja Volunteer Fire Department who was on the scene. Probably wasn't a good 20, 30 minutes after it happened that they made the call. Mr. Dennis Crocker, my family called him and he was able to get poison control and let us know what we needed to do. And I want to really thank Acadian Ambulance. They were at the house. The 2 young people that were on the ambulance were very professional. They took care of me and got me to the hospital, and thank goodness I did inhale a little bit of it and I got burned on my chest and in my face and arms, but I'm doing good. And I don't like a good deed to go unnoticed, but I really thank all of those people because it really made my family feel good, and it's good to know that those people are out there. So all of you, thank you, and thank you from my family. Okay, I'm going to leave it to Ms. Coates. Now, we can only go in executive session for 2 things. It's either legal or personnel. So you've got to state what you...
Personnel.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Ms. Coates.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hyde to go in executive session on personnel matter.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
We're back in regular session. No action taken in executive session. Last item on the agenda is do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Vial, second by Ms. Hyde. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?